Oh, crap, we're live. Hello! So we're not late by any means. We are just fashionably showing up. Yes, that's it. Welcome to what I hope is a live streaming event. The way things are going today, I'm not sure, but it's okay. This is Jamie Ray, the host of this very special live episode of Fave 5 for Fans, the podcast where we explore all things favorite. I'm your host, and today we're supposed to have a trio of guests. Right now, we have a duo of guests, and hopefully, Cam is okay and he's going to be joining us soon. But for now, we have two guests. First off, we have a new guest, the wife of Simpsons Uber fan and Joey O. She is an Uber Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan herself, Miss Erin O. I don't know if she's Erin O or not. Hi, Erin. Welcome to the show.
You can tell me whatever you like.
Super excited to have you here. This is the second duo team I've had, husband and wife. So, that's really awesome. Next to her is the aforementioned Joey O. Joey, thank you for making this happen and for bringing you two together. I appreciate it. And I mean for the show, not like in general, because I didn't even know you back then.
It's all interconnected, so it's fine.
So I am super excited to do this. It is, of course, Mystery Science Theater. If you don't know what Mystery Science Theater is, well, I appreciate you coming, because otherwise you're just coming to see me, and that's just so sad. But before we jump into it, why don't we ask the Uber fan, Miss Erin, to tell us a little bit about what Mystery Science Theater is before we jump into our lists.
It is good-natured heckling, is what it is.
Okay.
It's when you see something so cringy and bad, when you see something that's so over the top that you can't believe that it made it onto film, and maybe the acting is very bad, maybe the stage is falling apart, maybe you see the microphone. It's that sort of thing where you're on the couch and you just can't help but say something to the television.
Yes.
Even though it's not giving you any feedback, but you keep going.
Unless you're off your meds, and then it does talk back to you, which is a whole different experience.
Yeah, that's another situation. I do recall Mystery Science Theater has a long, convoluted history, and it's still making its own sort of path like no other show ever has. And it's been canceled a bunch of times. It's come back a bunch of times. It's been on different platforms. It's been on different channels. It's been on cable. It's been on not cable. It's streaming. It's not streaming. It's all these other things. It's on VHS, which is very important for the longevity on the fan group. But I do recall at one point they went to Sci-Fi, and there was a small pocket of hardcore science fiction fans that pushed back against it because they thought that talking over the movie was rude.
What?
So, and they go there to watch, I don't know, Creature from the Black Lagoon, let's say. I don't know.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought you meant the fans were over there. Okay, no, yeah.
No, they didn't like that they couldn't pay attention to the movies.
Like serious science, like hard science fiction fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, if you're watching hard science fiction, you're not going to be getting it from this show.
Not really, and that is one of the reasons why they tried to focus more on specifically science fiction when they were in the sci-fi years. Somebody on the board didn't get it either, like at Sci-Fi. Like maybe the president did. I don't recall exactly who it was, but there was one person gunning for it, and there was someone dissent. So, but there was also, I do recall when they like right when they started on Sci-Fi, they actually invited Mike onto a panel with some sort of talk show that they had on the Sci-Fi Network, and he had to like defend, like, why are you making fun of Roger Corman? He's a visionary. I'm like, well, have you seen this? Like, it wasn't his best work.
No, but he got paid, and it's in the public domain, so we can use it and we can enjoy it.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, it's when you take something, a movie in this instance, or a TV show spliced into a movie, or a short educational film, and you're not, most of the time it's not in bad spirits. Most of the time it's like,
Right.
ha ha ha, we can see the string, that's cute, but but that's what Joel, the creator, was hoping would happen. What it would be like a good-natured sort of upbeat, which
Yeah.
is why he gave the plot, such as the plot is that evil scientist kidnapped this poor hapless sap janitor, whoever it may be, and sent him on an experiment. This is all science experiment.
Well, it's all for science.
Yes, it's very, very important. It's let's see if we can drive this person insane by showing them just some of the most mind-bogglingly bad cinema, and record his reactions. And that's generally what it is. And the reason that he gave them a plot at all is because he didn't want to seem like there was just a jerk yelling at the screen for no reason.
Right. And it's kind of in the theme song, if you so if you're watching, okay, maybe if you've never heard of it and you come in a quarter of the way through, okay, maybe I could kind of understand that, but it's in the very beginning.
Some people don't understand the words. Some people don't listen to words.
Yeah, well, this is true. Yeah,
I've heard somebody mishear "shot him into space" as "shot him in his face."
Oh,
so yeah.
No, wow, that's awesome. So later on in the show, we're going to get into because I'm gonna let you guys shine and get into some of the genesis, what brought you guys together, actually. But I am super excited for our lists because I've watched a lot. I'm with you. I used to have some of the VHS. I did a lot of trading. I won't lie. I was given a hard drive with a bunch of the stuff on it, and then I scrounged everywhere I can to put it together. And then I found out I don't even have it all. So
I don't have it all either.
Yeah.
And there are some that you'll never have,
right?
Unless you find somebody who has a copy of it, or like they taped it off of television, or maybe there were a couple of box sets that did get released when they shouldn't have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but I had some of the box sets and stuff. And then when the DVDs came out, the local library had them, so I was able to get access to those as well.
Yeah, there were I think one or two movies that were released on DVD that were pulled, and they sent another movie in its place because they actually didn't acquire the rights as firmly as they thought.
Wow, that sounds like the wicked Barbie dolls that have the wrong UPC codes on them, but I digress. Okay, well, Joey, you need to settle down though, okay? Because she has to have an opportunity to speak. But Joey put this together for us. I really appreciate it. And I think what I'd like to do is, if you guys are ready, so because there were going to be 4 of us, I was like, well, let's not throw any honorable mentions out. So I think what we'll do is we'll talk about some other ones maybe a little bit later at our break. But I'd love it if you guys would start, and Erin, being the lady, we would like you to go first with your 5th favorite MST3K episode.
In the top, the actual list, my 5th favorite I have written as the giant spider invasion.
Oh, good one.
Which is, well, it takes place in the upper Midwest when a meteorite falls to Earth, and It messes up a very trashy couple's property.
How
And
dare you? Just has a back problem.
yeah, it's not the nicest people, not the smartest people or the cleanest people. But it messes up their property, and what they don't realize is that it looks like a diamond, but on the inside there's a spider.
That's kind of like all of us, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
you know.
Yeah, I cut glass just by going like that.
Oh, there you go.
No, so there's a spider on the inside of the meteorite. There are little pieces of meteorite, and you think that they're nuggets, but they're actually little like spiders encased with this rock. And for the first like half of the movie, it's like you just sort of see spiders crawling, but the people aren't really aware of it. And then when they are aware of it, mayhem, they just and scream. And there's of course, you know, people trying to figure out, oh, what's going on? Let's get a scientist. But
Science
by the end,
save us.
yeah, exactly. By the end, there's of course, you know, a mob, and they're all like, let's kill the monster, and that's where we hear a lot of Packers, woo! So
Go Packers!
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a sci-fi episode for sure.
What do you have a favorite part of it, of either the movie or the segments?
I just the couple in their horrible dirty kitchen and just being really
So
uncomfortably gross with each other. There's actually, you know what? If you're not aware, there was and I couldn't find it. Joy tried looking everywhere, couldn't find it, but I have a very well-loved copy of the Amazing Colossal Episode Guide. It's fallen apart a few times. I've glued it back together. It's seen a lot. And but it ends at season 5.
Okay. Oh gosh.
It ends at season 6. I apologize. Ends season 6 because that's where they were at the time.
So it's an all
they weren't sure if there was going to be a season 7.
Yeah.
Season 7 ended up being 6 episodes.
Okay.
The final episodes for Comedy Central. And then nothing for a little while, and then it went to sci-fi. And this is a sci-fi episode. So, in order to continue the Amazing Colossal Episode Guide, eventually, I know one of them is Chris Cornell, not the singer, but in Philadelphia. Chris Cornell, he wrote for the Inquirer. And one other person actually ended up paying the staff to continue to write their episode guides.
Okay.
And they did so on the sci-fi website. So there actually is an episode guide entry for the giant spider invasion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can still see them. Let me go back to the index and see. Yeah, episodes 701 through 706. And then there's, let's see, go back. Yeah, you can't really probably see it, but.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, each one of those is a link.
Yeah.
So Giant Spider Invasion is episode 810. And I picked the wrong one, so let me click that.
That's going to be season 8.
Yes, season 8.
Yeah.
Episode 810. And yeah, granted, the drunkards and the louts who streak across the screen in Giant Spider Invasion are not entirely fair representations. They're exaggerated by as much as 15%. Yeah, so that's not. It's not really representing Wisconsinites very well.
No.
But
what TV ever does, you know?
Yeah, they're very, very unpleasant people. Our main character is a very oily man and his very drunk wife.
Oily, I like that.
Yeah, and at one point he threatens her sister and tries to like chase her around the table to spank her. It's very
Yeah.
No.
Joey,
so that's great.
We know. We know.
Yeah, there's just a lot of a lot, a lot of
Tomfoolery.
classist humor, I suppose. But overall, you just see like the big spider, the giant spider, the actual giant spider, not just like the
Terrifying.
tiny little spiders. There's also little puppet spiders and puppet spider legs. But the giant spider is definitely someone's Jeep with like a covering over it and little like pipe cleaner, like PVC pipes with fur
Yeah.
over them, and they're just bouncing along.
Yeah. I mean, he's hopping. He's hopping. It's the Venusian hopping spider.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And
Very rare in this part of the galaxy.
Barbara Hale, who apparently I don't know a lot about Barbara Hale, honestly, but she's definitely won awards.
Yeah.
Certainly not for this.
Yep. She was long known for I believe it was Perry Mason's secretary.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
She plays a female scientist, wouldn't you know it? And she's very I think if people can hear this movie as opposed to seeing it and feeling the oil, is you would hear "Woo, go Packers" a whole lot, and then you would also hear her going Vance.
That's right. That's where that's from.
Because the other scientist's name was Vance.
Right. The visiting scientist.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say, but yeah. Unconvincing NASA scientists, the episode guide says.
There you go. Wow.
She repeatedly displays a harshly nasal scream toward the end. You ever hear a cougar in heat? Wow. And also the sheriff is Alan Hale.
Oh yes.
So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well,
if
that's
you're looking
awesome.
for any stars, there you go.
All right. Well, Joey, you go next. What's your number 5?
Well, you did an episode in the past year or so, I remember, of your favorite kaiju I listened to.
Yes.
And my favorite kaiju I put at number 5. He's so nice. They've revisited him many times over the years. My number 5 is the original Gamera.
Yes, the Space Turtle.
Yes. They did this twice. They did it in the original KTMA episodes, which are not, well, they're not hard to find, but they sort of disavow them kind of because they're so
and they're hard to
cheapo.
watch because there's no clean
they're not they didn't have a script. It was literally let's just watch a movie and talk as it goes, but also the way they put it in the episode guide, which I cannot find, what I have, they say, imagine you wrote some poetry in grade school and somebody found it and now you're a major author, but somebody wants to print that poetry. That's how they feel about it.
Okay.
Well, they redid Gamera for season 3, episode 2. And yeah, he's my favorite kaiju. I love that big turtle spinning around with his big dopey grin, and they went back to the Gamera well many times over the years. And there's a whole Gamera box set. We have the box set, and then in one of the recent years, I think it was the Gizmoplex streaming season year, they found there was a Gamera movie they didn't have the rights to back in the day, and they went back and they were able to do it.
Oh wow. So, that's really cool.
I'd have to go back and find which monster.
I love that one when he grabs the pole, like the horizontal pole, and just like over and over and over again.
Yeah, like his underbite with the saber-toothed tiger tusks.
Yes, but he's a friend to children.
Yeah.
He's made of turtle meat. So I went with the original Gamera for number 5.
Like they'd say down here, he'd make a good turtle piquant. Yeah, that's a great one. Now that one is season 3, so that would be Joel, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, that's a great one. I have on my number 5 is now most of mine, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Mike Nelson guy. I know that so many people really, dig Joel because he was the originator, and that's okay because this show is about favorites, and the Sci-Fi Network was where I was introduced to it, and I vividly remember because watching I don't even remember exactly which one the first one was, but I remember it coming on and instantly getting it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I have found my people. Because as long as you know that you're doing it, you could sit down and tear a movie apart with friends, and it's a lot of fun, you know. I used to have a friend who lived across the street from me, and I can vividly remember us watching Aliens, and the scene where they go to rescue Newt from the med lab, and they go to hit the glass wall with a chair. Uh, I remember that scene, and it bounced off, and I said, "Holy crap! It's another rubber chair! Stop giving me rubber chairs!" And my friend I thought he was going to pee himself. He was, you know. But so anyway, when it came on, I instantly got it. So I am a Mike guy. Nothing against
That's
Joel. I
fine.
just, you know, that's who I am. So most of my choices, well, all of them, are going to be from the Nelson years.
Okay.
And my number 5 is from season 9, and it's called 911 Devilfish.
Oh my
So
gosh, yes.
yes, a
Okay.
marine biologist and his team encounter a hybrid shark octopus, or a sharktopus.
Before
Uh,
Sharktopus.
yes, this movie was way, way, way ahead of its time, because oh my god, I mean, you've got the octo alligator now, and I mean, you've got Sharknadoes. All of these different things have come out since then. This was a film that Lamberto Bava directed, and I love me some giallo films. This one was a lot less giallo than I needed to see, but it's a fun film. But the thing I remembered most about this one is in one of the segments, the crew comes up, and I guess they're talking about the dolphins from in the movie, about how they're supposed to be so intelligent, and they're like, "Oh no, dolphins are stupid," you know, what could dolphins do? And then space dolphins attack them, and like just you know, are pounding on the ship until they apologize. And so they're finally like, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry. And then they go off, and then the next segment, a space technician, a space electrician shows up, and they start taunting him with something that was from the movie. And the guy gets his feelings all hurt. He's like, "Well, you know, I'm not doing this anymore." He packs his stuff up and leaves. And I love the interaction of this. I love, you know, the movies, the Italian movies for me have always had a very, very a large appeal to me. So to see this and that, really enjoyed it. So that's going to be. I can tell by you giggle. You like this movie?
I like every movie. I mean, honestly, even if it's a bad movie, like obviously it's a bad movie, but even if it's like a not great viewing experience, even with
Right.
it, I still love it because as I'm looking down, I'm checking the MST3K info.com and checking the episode guide for Devilfish.
Yeah.
Do we have that? Do we have
Yeah.
access to it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that one.
We can watch
Yeah.
it.
It's something else.
Segment
1984.
3, we learn that dolphins have a strategic alliance with electricians.
There you go.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
The giant dolphin spaceship comes to the electrician's aid.
Yeah. So this is good. And then later on, they do another Baba's film that I also really enjoyed. Diabolica.
Oh,
Danger
Danger-
Diabolique.
Yes.
Yes. With
Which the Beastie Boys
Italian special
referenced in a video.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
body
a fun
moving,
one.
right?
So,
Yeah, it's in Body Movement video.
yeah.
So
there you
if you've seen Beastie Boys body movement video, you basically seen their take on Danger Diabolique.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. I'll have to go and look for that. Okay, so let's swing back around. Miss Arano, why don't you give us your number 4?
My number 4 is actually one of the new crop of
From
Mystery
the
Science
Gauntlet?
Theater. So it was Jonah Ray
Yeah.
and The Christmas That Almost Wasn't.
Okay. Now I saw all of them, but give me a refresher on that one.
It's a Christmas episode where we learn that Santa's having money problems for his rent. and he needs to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
Because his landlord just doesn't like Santa. He doesn't like Christmas. And at long length, we learn that it's because he didn't get the toy that he wanted when he was younger.
So many supervillains have that origin.
Yeah, well, Santa didn't get the letter.
That's right.
It was lost.
Damn mail.
Yeah. And all the children of Italy, because I'm sure that's where it was filmed, they arise from their slumber on Christmas night or Christmas Eve into Christmas morning to pull their money together to give to Santa to pay his rent.
That's right.
But in the meantime, Santa takes a job in a toy store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I do remember this one now. Yeah.
There's a song where Santa's bookkeeper and the elves are looking for Phineas Prune. And Lord knows how you say it wherever it was filmed, but you're not supposed to. I guess you're supposed to realize his initials are PP. Because Phineas, but Prune, but anyway. So the bookkeeper sings a song, sort of, with the staff and at the North Pole about his letter. Can somebody find me his letter? And you know, I once knew a baboon who sang out of tune. I don't know what all this means, but the song is Prune, and it's terrible.
Wow.
Prune. Yes.
Okay, I do remember this one. Yeah. And this is the one where Felicia Day is the villain.
Yes.
And Patton Oswalt is her lackey, and
yes,
the Netflix seasons.
Yeah, that's good. I enjoyed it. You know.
Yeah.
It was a different take, but enough of a different take that you could still tell that was the same universe. So
yeah, I mean, she's the Forester.
Right. Exactly.
So
that's her aunt.
It's the same experiment.
Yeah. So that's Pearl. Pearl's her aunt.
Pearl's her grandma.
Her grandma. Okay, that's it. I knew it wasn't mother. So okay.
And I guess Patton is.
He's the son of
a descendant of Frank.
He's his son.
Frank,
He's the son of TV's
son
Frank.
Of TV's Frank. Yes, obviously.
Frank.
That's what he's called.
Well, that's awesome. Well, totally dig that one. All right. Well, Joey, what you got?
We're gonna go back to some more kaiju because I just love I just love those big monsters, those giant monsters.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't?
He likes green.
Out of all of the Gojira movies, I went with season 2, episode 12, Godzilla versus Megalon, which introduced us to the always smiling, definitely not Ultraman Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it's
not at all
clear.
Like Ultraman.
No.
Who was invented to sell toys. And this movie is pieced together from a couple different movies. I don't think it was supposed to be so Godzilla focused at one point. It was supposed to introduce Jet Jaguar into the world, and then they reshuffled it around and made it more of a Godzilla movie when it was originally released. It's just a lot of fun. All the stuff with Jet Jaguar and the annoying kids, because there's always annoying kids.
Always.
They're always named Kenny.
They're always named Kenny. They'll have a baseball hat.
Very, very small white shorts.
Very small.
Is this the one where Godzilla does the drop kick too and he rides on his tail?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because Jet Jaguar is holding Gigan?
Yeah, I think so.
Like this, and like, okay. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's get a running start. And then he goes, I actually grew up with a VHS of Godzilla versus Megalon, so I know this too well.
There you go. So that's a fun movie before you sit down and tear through it with the boys.
But yeah, and you know, they have the Jet Jaguar theme song over the end credits too. Jet Jaguar. Our friends have a Jet Jaguar poster. I think it's still in their bathroom. Ryan and Lauren Alice have one.
Oh, okay.
I think they do.
Oh, okay, cool.
I definitely remember going to their house one time and seeing Jet Jaguar in the bathroom.
So he's just leering at you like this.
With his metallic grin.
Yep. Once. I went in that bathroom once. Wow. Well, this one, my number 4, I think is probably universally loved. It is from season 8, and it is a heroic space pilot who helps a crew of a large generational ship stop the attempted mutiny by the ship's villainous chief of security. And along the way, the pilot and the captain's daughter fall in love and are able to ride go-karts into the sunset. Uh,
That's
but it's
one
in
way of putting.
space, so they probably die. I'm of course talking about Space Mutiny with the original Captain America himself. I love this film. It's it rips, it just utterly strips away all that was Battlestar Galactica and just uses every sound, every space scene, everything to make Red Brown just a superhero in space. Um, I would never want to be on this ship because it looks like a floating factory, is all that it is. Um, it is this. How does one explain the Southern Sun? Um, it's wow, it escapes description. I love along the way, not only do you have the lead bad guy and the 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 council members who want to help him overthrow it, you also get the space witches.
The Valerians.
Oh yeah, there's something else. And just the outfits, I've never seen so much aluminum foil put to work. It's
It's all
amazing.
leotards. It's all very itchy looking leotards.
Yes, it really does. And then in this one, my favorite segment has to be with after I believe during the movie someone fell over a rail broke and they fell after they got a shot. So Servo goes around installing railings everywhere on the ship as he's preparing for an OSHA inspection to arrive, and they're completely at random. At one point, basically trapping Mike in, and he is not too happy with it. Um, but anyway, this is one that I see a lot. We have the Mystery Science Theater channel on Pluto, and so I'll turn it on all the time, just wherever it is.
Oh yeah, we have that too. We just don't
We
utilize it.
Yeah, and it has commercials, and it's most of the time the same commercials over and over again. And it's completely random. They don't show them in any type of order, but it's 24/7. So there you go. And there's also a riff track channel on
That's
Pluto
the
as
one I was
well.
thinking of.
So that's great if you just want it on and listening to it. So I see Space Mutiny on there on the reg, to be honest. And I love it every time.
Well, we're doing this tonight because Mystery Science Theater got its start at Thanksgiving.
True.
Every year they've been doing the Turkey Day marathons for years and years. They used to do them on Comedy Central and Sci-Fi Channel. And a while back, they started streaming them, and they've done them on
Right.
different streaming channels over the years. Shout Factory, whatever version they've had.
Another
it's now
Pluto
just
channel.
straight up. It's on YouTube, so it'll be on there all day tomorrow, Thanksgiving, if you're watching this live, or too late if you're hearing this later.
If you're not alive but you're watching it, thank you for rising up from the
Yes.
grave to do that.
But this year's theme, they have a bunch of celebrity guests picking their favorite movies. So
cool.
their faves. So I believe Kumail Nanjiani's on it, David Desmalchin, Mark Hamill.
Oh
and
yeah,
a couple
I
other
think I
folks.
saw that. Mark Hamill was
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
And that's
really awesome.
Space Mutiny is the one where they just
The blast hard cheese.
Yes. Yep. It's also the one where like a secretary, I guess, on the spaceship dies.
Yes.
And then like a scene later, she's walking around.
Yeah. Yeah. Is she like in they're in the bridge and she's there again, and you're like, oh, that must be her sister. No, that's or they're cloning on the Southern Star. Southern Sun.
That's another movie.
Yeah, a different movie. All right. Well, okay, why don't we come around, jump back in, and you give us your number 3, Aaron.
My number 3 is Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Oh.
Which I mean, I debated putting it on this list because it's so I don't want to say polarizing because I feel like people really love it, but maybe that's just me.
Or they really hate it
Or they
and
really
can't
hate it.
understand why
It's so
people like
polarizing.
you even watch it.
But no, man, I can just watch this. Like, and I have just watched this because on the DVD, I believe they do have it unmisted on the DVD, and we even saw like we went to the theater to see like the full thing re-misted
One of
redone.
they used to do a lot of those Fathom events with the Riff
Yes.
Tracks guys and with Cinematic Titanic, and we used to go to a bunch of different ones of those over the years. And yeah, Manos was one of the ones we saw where it's different jokes basically.
Okay, that's what I was
Jokes,
going to
but
say.
they also did the whole movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not edited for TV, so it's the full.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's re-rifting. I like that.
Yes.
That's a good term. Yeah.
There's also if it hasn't come out yet, there is a series about Manos by somebody who was in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I also saw an interview with the woman who played who was Debbie, the little girl
Yeah.
in Manos. I I get a lot of tea from a company, Adagio, and they do take things down if they're copyright violations, and someone recognized like, okay, well, this is their customer service rep recognized, well, I've seen Manos, this is not she took them down because there were a crop of new teas that appeared,
Right.
because people can make their own blends
Oh, I got you.
of tea. And she took them down, and then she was contacted by the woman who made the tea and said, no, I'm the one making this production about the movie, and these are my shots.
Oh.
So yeah,
It's kind of mean.
yeah. Yeah, it's a, I don't know if it's a couple of episodes or if it's a movie about the movie itself.
Wow.
But I wish I had more information about that.
Yeah.
I should have thought about
Well,
that.
we don't want to spoon feed it to the viewers and listeners. They need to do some work on their own, you know.
So I had it on a tape that was taped from television. By the way, I started not having cable. I was a Mr. Science Theater fan who did not have access to the show.
Oh, okay.
So my mom worked with somebody who did and loved it and made his recordings. So I borrowed his, made my own. I mean, of course, when they were available, I bought them myself. But you know,
that's the way to do it, to make sure those things go on.
Then I would show them to people, and that's what you're supposed to do, keep circulating the tapes. Yeah. So I did, and this is one of them. I bought it on VHS twice, and I have it on DVD.
Even your karmic score, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's and if you don't know Manos, it's about, gosh, it's about a fertilizer salesman
tell me what it's about.
But a camera that only shot 30 seconds at a time is what it's about.
That's one way to
describe
it.
It's about to work the last nerve is what it is.
He's a fertilizer salesman in Texas who wrote and directed and starred in this film. It barely makes it to an actual movie length.
Yeah.
But again, it is shot on a 30-second camera with no audio. So that's why it sounds like the audio a lot of the times is like it's like off camera, and that's because it was people talking later or something like that. But it's just, there's a whole lot of nothing in it. For the first like 10 minutes or so, it's just ladies driving.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of driving on Mr. Science Theater.
No, it's the family driving. It's the dad, the mom,
but not in an exciting way.
No,
it's not Fast and Furious.
They're just like, we don't know where we're going. Let's just drive, and it's not even pretty scenery. I'm sorry, Texas, but it's not.
Yeah, it's there's so many different driving scenes in Mystery Science. It's a thing, you know. If it's not driving, it's parking.
Driving scene I think they've ever had. Wow. It's so much so that the first host segment is like, I think Servo's the mom in the car, and they're like driving, and then Gypsy pulls them over because there's a sheriff that anyway, and then he's like. They stop the car, but the scenery behind them is still going, and it's the scenery from Manos. and Servo breaks. It was I think this is the only time where they've actually apologized to Joel and the bots more than once. The mad scientists are like, we're sorry.
We're sorry. Yeah, this is a bad one.
It's a great
I've
movie.
seen
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, I am on the other side of the pole on this one. And again, there's so many episodes and there's so many different, just all over the place. I think this was probably the episode that most people will associate with Mystery Science Theater. It's when I go to cons, Manos, the master, is cosplayed a lot.
Yes.
And it is just one of those films. I'll put it in the same pool with a lot of the educational videos that they just don't do it.
It's not arresting. It doesn't, grab you. There's not really much of a story.
Yeah.
And that is because from what I don't have notes with me or anything because that's how I roll. From what I gather, this fertilizer salesman in Texas got this camera. He decided he was gonna get some publicity for his business.
Right.
And he did. He got people investing. They aired this as we're gonna film a movie and everybody's gonna come to the premiere and it's gonna be a big thing. It's gonna put us on the map and all that sort of thing. And of course it didn't. And when I say it barely made the length for a movie, it was so short that they actually had a short in front of it.
Oh,
in Mystery Science Theater. They have a short in front of it.
Yeah.
And that's also about cars.
Of course. Is it the one about the car salesman who's so bad? And okay. Yep.
Hired Part 2.
Yeah. Oof,
You're hired as a salesman for this car company is what
I remember that one. That was actually better than Manos. I'm just
So Hired Part 2. The plot, again, it's very thin. It's a man, a woman, a child are on a road trip. They get tired. They get lost. The only place they can find is this random house, small shack in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's like a bungalow. And a very creepy man. He says his name is Torgo, and the master would approve of. And I mean, that doesn't sound very comforting.
Yeah, but they're like, "Come on, honey."
Yeah, and the master's here.
Yeah,
and the master is just a guy who looks like Frank Zappa and a dog. And the guy who played the master was a local community theater, like troubadour, sort of like troop leader or whatever.
Oh, I thought that was the sales guy.
No.
Is he the dad?
The salesman is the dad.
The fertilizer guy's the dad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hal P. Warren.
Oh, okay.
Is his name. And poor Torgo, the guy who played Torgo, is kind of sad. It's really sad, actually.
Really?
He hobbles in this movie, and that's because they wanted to give him something, some hook. And I don't know what it is, but I think it's knee pads that are put on the wrong way underneath his regular pants. So It looks like he has very large knobby knees, but his legs don't bend the right way. So basically they put knee pads on incorrectly, and eventually that led to him being injured. He suffered for pain for the rest of his life and died.
Wow.
He's supposed to have goat legs, but you don't really get a good look at them.
You never see his legs, even in the full length movie.
Huh.
But he sort of has Billy Goat beard looking, if you think about it like that.
Yeah, he's gotta move.
But the master likes women. The master doesn't have any use for this man or this child, but the child will grow up to be a woman, and the master loves women. He has
he's a creep.
Yeah, he's a Torgo prays to this guy who is, again, Frank Zappa looking dude, who
with a
has
fabulous robe and cape.
Yes,
he has a robe where you see hands, because Manos means hands, so it's the hands of fate. It's some sort of devil worship, let's say, because goats and satyrs and all that stuff. And in the basement, I don't know how you have a basement in Texas, but you got a basement in Texas. is just a dirt floor with a pole, and there's like ladies in long white nightgowns that are his wives.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, pretty much. And they get up and leave the house and come back in the house.
Yeah, and they fight with each other just by like going.
Oh yeah, the ladies. So I just meant like the family. Like they get up and they go outside, and then they go back inside, and then they go back outside and open a door and close a door.
And the wife is just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Oh, and she's Torgo wants her but can't have her. And
yeah, he leers at her. Yes.
None of this is explained very well because it's Manos.
Well, this made more sense than the movie did. So I thank you for that.
If that sounds like fun to you.
Yeah. What's your number 3, sir?
All right, we're going to jump back into the Netflix era of Mystery Science Theater with Jonah Ray as the host for the season premiere of the second Netflix season, which is technically season 12, The Gauntlet. Yes. Mac and Me. Now, I remember when Mac and Me came out when I was really little, and I knew it was an E.T. ripoff then, and it was a McDonald's. It was a McDonald's tie-in movie and an E.T. ripoff. I knew that from reading about it when it came out when I was like 9 years old or whatever.
Right.
And it became infamous over the years because it's a terrible, ridiculous infomercial for McDonald's. And then at some point, many people know of it thanks to Paul Rudd, because Paul Rudd had his running gag for years on Conan. We'd be like, "Oh, I have a clip from my show. I have a clip. Yeah, you want to see my new movie? Here's a clip." And he showed the same clip of Mac and Me of the kid with the wheelchair. It's a dummy in a wheelchair falling off a cliff, and then Mac pops up in the frame and goes, "Ooh!" So Mac and Me is basically a shameless E.T. ripoff that was made in the late '80s, where this weird alien comes to Earth and
yep, Cam's here.
Cam just popped in our chat room to say Mac rules.
Let's welcome him in.
Hey, oh my gosh, it's Tom Servo.
Oh, that Paul Rudd guy. We can't riff any of those comedians. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey,
nice
Cam.
to meet you.
Sorry, it was late. The Mads were electrocuting me.
Oh no.
I love your Tom Servo.
You can get any of these on eBay. We got Crow over here, but he's too heavy, so.
So, hi. We'll get to yours shortly then.
Yeah.
So Mac and Me is just a shameless ET ripoff. It has this amazing sequence at a McDonald's where they're at a kids party there, a birthday party, and Mac is hiding inside of a giant stuffed teddy bear, but he gets up and starts dancing around. So there's a giant creepy teddy bear dancing, and there's like football players doing a choreographed dance with Ronald McDonald, and it just looks like it's straight out of a McDonald's commercial. Later in the film, they go to the mall, and there's all the Mick Kids clothing line. I remember from when I was really little was a thing that you could get. Was it Sears? I think it was at Sears.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And the ending of the movie, at the end of the movie, Mac and his alien family come to Earth, and they're all wearing Mick Kids, like in the last scene of the movie. And it's just a shameless commercial for, I think, Coca-Cola and mostly McDonald's, while also ripping off E.T. And you might say that it's pretty nice, but it's not. It's wonderfully terrible. So I put that as my number 3.
I saw this, not in the theater, but we would rent movies from like the local movie theater, with a movie rental place, which was not a Blockbuster. It was just local, and saw this, and I don't remember thinking anything of it, and. But I don't like the look of the aliens. They're all pink and they're like sea monsters, but they have the trumpet lips like with Garfield and the Arbuckles when they see the tree light up. Like,
oh yeah, it's crazy.
They're very rubbery. Yeah. So Mac and Me. That's my number 3.
There you go, man. Hey, how about them apples?
Oh, Jamie's on mute now somehow.
Thank you, Cam. Why don't you go ahead and give us your number 3, and then we'll catch up during the discussion break.
Okay. Yes. And I sound okay on my end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're great.
You don't hear the fan.
You look wonderful. I mean, everything. You know?
Well, thank you. Good choice on Mac and Me, by the way. Like, that was a movie my sister never knew about. I'm like, oh, I saw it at the video store all the time. Conan was the only exposure. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And like many of these Mystery Science Theater movies, they're real.
Yeah.
You see movie posters for them and everything. You're like, well, they played in a theater.
Oh, there were commercials. There was tie-ins.
Yeah. McDonald's. Freaking McDonald's. So number 3. Oh man. In no order. I'm also gonna go with a more recent episode. From Gizmoplex era, I'm gonna go with Sento in The Treasure of Dracula.
Ooh.
Sento. I had fun.
Lucha Libre.
Yes, and I had fun. There's a Mexican Jerry Lewis comrade in it, if you will, and I had fun even more just introducing this. Like, my sister had vaguely heard of it. I knew many movie buffs who, would see these on Nintendo channels and even the Spanish channels back in the day watching this. And I had fun just introducing this to my mother. I'm like, yeah, this was their Batman. This was their Zorro.
Yeah.
El Santo was a wrestler and he would take
rolled into one.
Someone had to do it. But yeah, I think the gags are a nice mixture of pop culture and whatever's happening on screen. And for a first episode of that season 13, I thought it was a lovely genre mashup for everybody.
Yeah.
I remember it being like time travel, but not
really
living a past life. But there's Dracula, but there's not really a Dracula. It's
very convoluted. Yes, as you would ask for in these. It might have been better as a show. I don't know.
Yeah. And do you remember a special segment, a part of the segment?
Oh, if we're gonna go with the segment, I know it was coming up, but like, probably my favorites is when they're in the cave, just making fun of their bizarre hunting style.
Oh.
They're just letting out every kind of tough guy wrestling kind of trope riffs there.
Yeah,
and it's just a good play up because I mean it's both complimentary to those who are fans of these kinds of movies as well as those of us who like kind of gawking at superhero cheese, just bam, bang, kaboom.
There's mucho nacho in this movie.
Mucho nacho. Oh,
queso all over the place.
Oh. Isn't it?
I like that one. I like that one, man. Yeah. Well, I am quickly going to go with my number 3 because we have already discussed it earlier, and it is another season 8 gem. You see what I did there? It is the giant spider invasion.
Oh. Packers won the Super Bowl. Yay!
Go Packers!
Go Packers! So again, giant spiders from outer space land on Earth and slowly escape from their geodes.
Very slowly.
To invade a Packers vision in a Wisconsin town, and it's up to Skipper Della Street and Lieutenant Carolyn Palamas to save the day. This movie is so deliciously bad. His girdle is should have its own credit at the end of the movie. I mean, it is so fantastic, and I'm not sure which of the kitchens I liked more, the pre-invasion or the post-invasion, because I almost want to say the webs kind of zhuzhed the place up a little bit, but that's just me.
Give it some mystery.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And my favorite is that during the break in the fun, Gypsy becomes controlled by one of the pretty flowers that Pearl had discovered, which is in fact turning her into a pod bot. And she tries to convince since the boys to lull them into sleep with her evil super consciousness devouring lullaby, but Mike thinks that something might be amiss. So
it was a big irony too. This is a man who destroys planets. He's like,
right.
I have a good feeling about this.
Yeah. So you hit it all, Aaron. You hit all of the fun parts. The fact that the big monster at the end literally looks like it's a black furry camping tent with cardboard legs because it just bounces as it goes along.
Bouncy, bouncy. Its legs aren't really touching the ground, are they?
No, no, not at all. And it's a lot of fun, and I love it. So great choice, and I'm gonna match you. Yay! It's a match.
I match you.
Woo, the Packers.
All right, well, we're going to take a break here in all of the fun. First of all, Cam, welcome to the show. Cam is, of course, the mastermind behind the Jacked Up show, the Jacked Up Review Show podcast. The hardest working man in the pod universe. I don't know. I don't think this guy sleeps. I've never physically seen his eyes, so I wonder if it's not some kind of vampiristic thing where he doesn't have to sleep, because he is on every podcast. He's got 365 episodes a year.
So what's that? Actual insomnia. So now I'm rocking steady. I combined the chats. We split up all kinds of stuff. We had a Des Moines, Iowa film crew on yesterday, and we're going to split that up into defending usually infamous TV and movie characters.
Well, okay, I like that. His are a lot of fun. He's got some really cool guests, and so we're going to have all the links to his shows too at the end. But why don't you go ahead and give us your number 5 and your number 4?
Yes,
and
sorry about
that. Let's tear those up.
Oh man, so I'm not sure if it already got mentioned, but it's got to be Escape 2000.
Oh, nope,
not yet.
Also known as the Bronx Warriors 2. Escape the Bronx! And this one is fun just because, like every classic characters, they like just picking up on the bizarre scene stealers and impersonating them.
Toblerone?
Yes, Toblerone. Yeah, not to be confused with the candy. And
I was fixing to say the chocolate.
And to make it even more wacky, he actually does survive the movie, but because it was cut for violence, they had to go with the skit. And he comes on out and he starts flirting with Pearl Forrester, who's trapped in a castle bin by her son Clayton. She's going, Clayton. He comes on in. Hey, how you doing? He's just all Italian, and he wants to make mad love to her. And
who wouldn't? I mean,
but Mike is having a blast impersonating Toblerone. But the whole movie is fun. There's one that gets me every time where there's an older CIA gentleman coming out of nowhere, and they're like, Wilford Brimley is 007. And it's just fun scenery, funky music, the usual over the top, and making fun of the lead character Trash not having much charisma. But to make it even more confusing, it was one of the ones that couldn't be released for a while. It's like Lionsgate and a few others owned it. And I think you can now stream it, but
okay.
I don't think it's Gizmoplex for a while.
It was one of the 6 episodes. I went like 5. Wait, 6.
You got another one, sure? Yeah,
it was definitely not permitted one time.
Very short season.
I think it was in last year's Thanksgiving marathon because I watched it. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. See, yeah, I wish it had more fanfare. It's kind of like Cave Dwellers and some of those other just goofy Western and dark fantasy sorceries movies where you're like, if this gets you into these kinds of goofy movies, by all means,
Yeah. I've actually watched 1990 the Bronx Warriors,
the original,
without Mistress. Just to watch it because I was like, it's got Fred Williamson in it,
Oh yeah.
It's something else. That's all.
When watching it, I felt like Tarantino had it down to a T. It's like, I'm gonna have all my bizarre montages of people beating each other up from this movie.
Yes, it's
ding,
so
ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
They thought they were Bruce Lee.
Yeah, they were not. But go back and looking at some of these. I'm doing it right now. This was
Henry Silva is the bad guy.
Colorful movie at that.
Oh yeah.
And if you're looking for it, there's actually a DVD of a post-apocalyptic triple feature where it's got 2019 after the fall of New York, 1990 the Bronx Warriors, and the New Barbarians, which I'm not positive but I think the New Barbarians had the Barbarian Brothers, like the
No,
wrestlers or something. No,
different, but similar. I can't blame you for that. I mean,
yeah.
I think they did film some of their stuff overseas.
Okay, yeah, okay.
They were VHS
Right.
favorites, but
Yeah,
New
those guys were
Barbarians
something
did get a riff tracks treatment, and it was one of those where I was just very confused. It's like you see so many of these, especially with Fred and Robert Ginty, and you're like, wait, didn't I just see this? Oh, it's different, but
else. That's different. Yeah. Let me go back and look at that title. Oh yeah, no, it's a completely different movie. All right, and what's your other one?
The next one will be dun, 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 Fling Crap. It's Time of the Apes. First one I ever saw all the way through. I had seen part of Giant Spider in Merlin's shop on TV in the early 2000s. My parents were like, "Come with me. Come. Here's our VHSs off Comedy Central. Enjoy." And we were just quoting it nonstop, and just the awkward close-ups, and made me want to actually seek out the Japanese TV show, that it's compiled from. And
I actually have a DVD of it, a Japanese DVD of some of the episodes that a buddy of mine gave me.
Yes.
It's something else, man.
It is. It's a crazy trip. It's like the time tunnel, but more crazy.
But on acid.
On acid. And I don't know what it is about all these movies. Half the time, I just feel like they're pulling from every other Hollywood blockbuster. That Return of the Jedi, running through bunkers and setting charges. It's like
maybe
escaping
actually,
the Empire.
They're like, well, that worked for them,
right?
Yeah.
They did it.
Nobody will ever forget Casper Van Dien now. I mean, his movies so over the top, and they love them in the recent years.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Somebody had to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and Joey and Aaron, what's going on in y'all's lives? Everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. You got your pillows prepared to sit down and stream the turkey marathon tomorrow?
We'll be at my brother's most likely.
But we'll watch it before and after.
Yeah,
that's what
I'll
we usually
be decorating
do.
cookies.
Deep hurting.
That.
Oh, okay.
With Mr. Science Theater just on.
Yeah, it's that kind of great show that you don't have to sit and watch.
Yes.
You
Especially
can just
if you know it. Like I've seen this a million times. Let me just ice this and watch and ice this and watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I won't be actually able to partake of any of them tomorrow. I'll be honest with you. I looked around and I saw the little blurb about the 2024 or 2023, but I couldn't find where the 2024 was streaming. And Joey, you said it's going to be where?
Let me look again on their.
I think
their
someone
socials.
videotaped them onto YouTube. I think.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually on YouTube. It might be on Shout Factory. Whatever Shout Factory, I think, dropped the word factory at some point. They're just Shout now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it's on their
Scream
YouTube
Factory.
every year because I think they still own a piece of the company or the rights. It's some
I
sort
think
of
you're right.
shared rights with Shout and Joel.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, well, cool. We'll have to watch for that.
But yeah, it's definitely out there. It's definitely gonna
Gobble
be.
gobble.
Yes, I will be partaking of the turkey, the mashed potatoes, and the brown paper
Taters.
tomorrow. Yeah, taters, not potatoes.
Potato. There are a lot of Tolkien references. It's so funny. That is one of the times they've noticed. Like the one time they were like very gentle on a riff tracks, where they're basically just talking daring as opposed to railing against it, was actually the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because they're actually big Tolkien heads. Evolution is crazy.
Well, all right. Well, I am so ready to hear your penultimate choices. So let's go back to Aaron O. Give us your second.
Not to be
favorite.
confused with Kerno of the Yeah.
It's Pod People.
Oh, okay.
I would have put this at 1, except it's not my personal favorite.
Okay.
Pod People is my favorite to show to people who have never seen Mystery Science Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why is
Pod
that?
People, I have no idea how many dozens, maybe 100 times I've seen it.
Wow.
But it's so good. It's a solid, really good episode to show to people that haven't seen it before, because all the host segments are interesting. There's a lot of music. It's ridiculous movie. There's like 3 different plots. None of them go anywhere. Sort of ET-ish.
Meets Astro meets
It's very confusing, and there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of people to pick on. Right. There's a kid. There's a there's like a whole zoo in his bedroom. It's wonderful.
I mean, I might say it stinks.
I'm a virgin.
I think it's pretty nice.
No, Pod People is, if we're going to honorable mentions, Pod People would have been in there for me.
Okay. That's a good one. I love it. Okay, so real quick, Aaron, is that the one you have watched the most, you would say?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So not your favorite, but it's just
no, my personal favorite. I don't know how many people even like it, but it's mine.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. So what is it about this episode that makes you want to use it as the introduction for non-Misties?
And spend so much time with Trumpy.
Because it's got a creature, it's got actual animals, it's got a kid, it's got a band, sort of. It's got poachers, it's got danger, it's got the NBC movie of the week. It's got John Tesh, Casio going on. The host segments are fun. So if you don't even know these people, you're like, okay, yeah, I understand. This is new age.
Right.
Crow, here, just put your beak on this one key and hold it until you get a record deal. And it's just, I think just in every way, they even have like a song to wrap it up. It's easily digestible when you have like the hideous control now song they call it. Hear the engines roll now with the wind in your eyes is a terrible song, and those are the actual words. and then you come back to the satellite, and it's perfect. You have Joel as the hotshot sort of singer, and he's like, true. You girls sing. If you're late one more time, you're out. And Gypsy's consistently late as his backup. And then they flip it to the production booth, and there's Frank with his "I'm a Virgin" t-shirt, just like the guy in the movie. It stinks.
But the way Joel says it stinks.
Yes.
Awesome. I like that. All right, well, let's nudge your hubby there and ask him what his second favorite is.
All right, my number 2 has a backstory to the first time I saw it, which is a story I wanted to tell you, and it's a Mystery Science Theater story about us and the times that we've seen stuff in person over the years.
Oh, well, please share.
Okay, my number 2 is the Beatniks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was not on my list.
All right, so here's the thing.
It's one of Joel's favorites.
Yes, it's one of Joel's favorites.
Okay.
Joel lives in our neck of the woods ish. Currently, Joel's lived in the Philadelphia suburbs for a really long time. He has a normal day job out this way, and when they've brought back Mystery Science Theater over the years, a lot of the work has been done in the Philadelphia area because he lives here, his family's here, and all. Right. And he has his real job is here, so he goes back and forth to LA when they've done stuff. But a lot of the production stuff has been done here. So we've seen Joel in person doing different events over the past decade or so in various places.
Sorry.
What?
I said stalker.
Oh.
Actually, if anything, he's sucking Joey because he keeps going to Joey's hometown.
Yeah.
Oh, so there you go.
So here's the thing.
And that's your honor is how it happened.
So my hometown has a movie theater in it, the Colonial Theater. It's Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. The Colonial Theater is an old one-screen movie theater. It's been there since like the 40s or 50s. And in the 90s, it sort of fell into disrepair and was just showing like movies after they've been out for a while. Like I remember like Batman Forever was showing there like 3 months after everyone else saw it. So in the late 90s, they sort of turned the place around and made it more of an art house. and started showing like documentaries and stuff you might have to go into Philly to see that weren't playing at the multiplexes.
They also air concerts there. Like you can just go on stage, a
Bands play there
tour,
too,
and they book.
Oh, okay,
the
cool.
Theater.
Yeah, and like we saw one of our favorite Daily Show correspondents, Jordan Klepper, do stand up there this year.
Oh, sweet.
So anyway, shortly after that, they leaned into what the theater is best known for, is that it's in the Blob. So you know the
really?
classic
Is that
movie,
where
The
they have
Blob.
the Blob Fest?
Where they all run
Yes,
out. That's
it's the Blob Fest.
I've heard of this.
Okay, that's what I was getting to, because it's so up your alley. Blobfest is so up your alley.
Yes.
Yes. So in the Blob, there's a scene where the Blob seeps into a movie theater and it starts and it scares everyone and they run out of the movie theater.
Right.
So that was filmed at the Colonial back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So part of the way to like revitalize the theater and eventually the downtown really was that they built up Blobfest, which is totally just built around the fact that this one scene was shot here.
But
and
the most famous scene.
Yeah. So it's
downtown Phoenixville is bustling now.
Yeah. So, but they do Blobfest every year, which is a sort of like love letter to 50s and 60s horror and sci-fi. And they show the Blob and they show a couple of other movies there. But there's they shut down the middle of the street and there's vendors and you can buy, like T-shirts and people with, this art
they
trinkets.
do a reenactment of running from the theater.
That's what I was fixing to say. I've seen that. Yeah, they reenact it every year where you're in it, running out of the theater.
Yes,
that's cool.
That's in my hometown. It's like 20 minutes away from where we live now.
Wow.
So anyway, Joel liked the theater because all this stuff was up his alley, and he lives somewhere like half hour, 45 minutes away.
I think he might live like as far as Berks County, even.
Yeah, regardless,
like within an hour of.
Yeah, he's in the general area, so he became friends with the theater, and at one point he was working on an idea before they did the Netflix season. Joel did a show at the Colonial where he did like a one-man show, like a PowerPoint, like here's my life story, like this is my autobiography as a PowerPoint, and he was sort of workshopping it, like he didn't know if he was going to take it on the road, maybe turn into a book, I don't know. So he did it. So we went to that.
Oh, and at the time he was actually teaching a class at a community college about riffing, and his class, his students were in the theater.
Yeah. So anyway, this was like the rough edit of it. He was just workshopping it, and he didn't finish it because it was so long. So he only got like halfway through. And was like, "Oh, we're out of time because I still have to show you a movie tonight."
Yeah.
So he took a break. He did like autographs in the lobby and stuff, and then he showed The Beatniks was his pick to show as a movie for the second half of the night. And then he came back like a year or so later and did the same show. Only he had like he condensed it and whittled it down to like get the whole thing in. But then I don't think he ever really did anything with it like in full. Like I know if he was going to take it on the road, he never did. But anyway, that was sort of like
riff it during when he was playing it, or was it just the movie?
Oh no, they showed the Mystery Science Theater.
Okay.
Of the Beatniks.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the first time I saw the Beatniks.
And that's when that's when I asked him if it was okay if I used the love theme for our wedding.
Yes.
By the way, if you look at the title card for this episode, the robots, those are from their wedding cake.
Yes.
We're going to share some of those
Mystery
pictures.
Science Theater wedding cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nom.
And we did get to show it to Joel at another event a few years later. A picture of it on our
awesome.
Anyway.
Okay, so
Beatniks.
Since you guys are
that's where this was going, but I want to tell you about the Colonial and tell you about Blobfest if you weren't aware of it, because it's very much up your alley.
Yes, very much.
That's lovely.
What you got, Cam?
I'm glad you mentioned up Beatniks. I have that tied with like Robot versus the Aztec Mummy of their most amusing commentary about the fight scenes and everything, and it's just fun seeing them try something different instead of gross monsters for once. But
yeah,
when you picture Beatniks, you're picturing like Ned Flanders' dad. You're gonna picture someone with bongos and goatee. That's not what this movie's about at all.
No, not much.
No, they're
it's
like
a crazy gangland story. Yeah. But
it's kind of like, what was it? Sidecar chasers or something like that.
Oh, side hackers, similar. Yeah.
Yes. Another one like, why did they pick this movie?
What was available and
exactly.
And
he's a
crooner.
Yeah, the fights was great.
The plot of the Beatniks is there are these greaser types that hang out at diners.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah,
like,
the one guy gets discovered. It's his big break. He's singing along to the jukebox, and somebody discovers him and wants to like make him a star. But he brings all his like sleazy friends and hangers on with him,
It's not
and they
William S.
just screw up all his
Burroughs.
chances at being famous because they're jerks. And the one guy is Mooney, and he like stabs someone, and they get in like bar fights, and he's like, I'm gonna moon ya.
By mooning, he means I'm gonna shiv you.
Yeah.
Oh wow, not show him his butt.
Oh,
no,
different kind of moon.
no.
Moon 13.
Moon 13, the moon.
So much like Aaron, much like many of the points you said, although I really, really, really love it, I'm going with Pod People. I love the goofy music. I like how it's one of their other Italian imports, and much like Sandy Frank's, Film Ventures has a bad knack of having very unrelated opening titles that cause even more confusion and riffs. But yeah, I like how it's just, you have Frank Brana as like the good guy who's not very good at stopping the monster until like the last 10 minutes. Who's like you might know him as the guy who gets shot in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly bar fight. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's fun for me just as a movie historian, but also it's just like it's such a shockingly graphically violent movie, as well as just totally inconsistent, but it's also easier to watch with them because it's just, like you say, those segments are just so wacky. And yeah, if I was going to introduce people, I would totally show it, but it's also just very quotable, just that episode and riffs. Trumpy, you're a jerk.
Jumpy, you can do stupid things.
You can do you can do amazingly stupid things.
Wow. Yeah, that one that was something. His shirt or his sweater was something else. You know?
And you want to talk the most disorganized rock stars. You're like, so who's the groupie? Who's part of the band? Who's the editor? And how do they get to this house? And why are they all getting killed? Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just here. And there's an annoying kid who's insufferable, so that's always funny. Yeah.
That is cool. Well, before we go on to my number 2, I do have to tell you real quick. So I have...
That's what most of these movies are.
Exactly. I have a Blob connection as well. I live about 20 minutes from a town called Abbeville, which was the setting for the remake of the Blob. They redid. Yeah, exactly. And you cannot swing a dead cat around here without hitting somebody that was either an extra in the movie. I have a friend who played in the marching band. Her whole school was there. You know, everybody. So it's really interesting because you know, if you remember, you go in and it's got the circle with the big building in the middle, and so it looks just like that, except they came out about 6 or 8 feet in front of all of the storefronts and added all of the things to make it look like a Colorado town. But yeah, it's just like 20 minutes down. So maybe we'll have the Blodfest 2.0 here, and you guys can come down and come over.
We're gonna have to, but
I just
you're
don't
living
know
the
if
movie
Joel's
every
gonna be
day.
judging any costume contest at your Blobfest. So
Blob. Oh man, that's great. You experience
right,
it every day.
Every day. My number 2 is the season 9 Jewel, and I can never say it the proper way. Werewolf?
Oh, Farwolf.
Werewolf? An archaeological dig.
That's got an honorable mention from me.
Is it? Yeah, I love it. I love it just for the way that she says it, if nothing else. So an archaeological dig supervised by Richard Lynch unearths the remains of a werewolf that Joe Estevez dug
My
up.
buddy. For real.
Yeah, the unscrupulous director. Right.
Or
even though he's only in like the first chapter, and then he runs away after he and his friend are one of the werewolves, and then the other guy is a werewolf.
Yeah.
So
the fact that the local plot it revolves around the writer who comes in and he becomes romantically involved with the beautiful project administrator. And I'll tell you, I've been in project management for 20 years, and I've never met a project person like that lady before.
Oh man,
it is so fun because of so many reasons. The lycanthropical security guard who has the change
Yes.
in the car. The fight that they have
Oh
in
man,
the lab over the remains of
Russian
just
lead guy.
when he hits him on the back with it. Oh, I'm gonna turn you into a
Jorge
werewolf.
Rivera's hair changes every
Oh
minute.
God, it's so
He
awesome.
so wants to sleep with the woman, and you don't even know why.
What?
Like, you guys,
Yeah. And then the guy who lives in the house.
tell
with
me
the
what
gun.
you're thinking without telling me what you're thinking.
I love it.
I
But yeah,
love it.
I don't know how he knows kung fu, but he just does it on a bunch of barflies, and you're like, okay. I used to get it mixed up with, I think, the Moon Beast and a few of those other violent ones, just because same deal. Someone would transform into a monster, and if you came in through the episode halfway, you're like, "What's going on?" And this was always so funny how
it reminds me of Werewolf in Washington. Just I don't know, it's just. But I will say that this is also one of my second favorite segments, in which Mike cuts himself on Crow's head, and he begins to turn into a werecrow. And Servo is horrified, so he starts to work on an antidote. Yeah, his hands like that. And so finally he's able to give him the antidote, but now Servo is aware Mike.
Oh man.
And I just love the way that he was gold and he had his hands it's just hilarious. Yes, ma'am.
The old guy, what's his name? I don't know why, but I want to call him Cooter, but I don't think that's his name. But the old guy with the rifle.
Yes, they lived in the house with him.
Yeah.
Around here.
Yeah.
Won't come around here no more.
And there's one thing that the woman says, and I wish I remember her name, but I don't. But I can see her face. She never gives any sort of emotion. She just says
no.
But you nailed isn't it for the money? But over my dead body.
Over my dead body. And
that's all I know.
Richard Lynch.
Adriana Miles.
Adriana Miles, yeah. And
Adriana Miles.
So who's the villain? Is it Jorge or is it Richard Lynch?
No, Richard Lynch is a good guy, which you don't get in a lot of movies.
Well, it's just hard to tell because he's just so intimidating.
Yeah. He's just the guy who's running it. But the bad guy, honestly,
fight with Joe Estevez.
I didn't even put his name down because he was just so meh. But it's Jorge Rivero as Yuri.
Yes,
Yuri, you can't mean that, Yuri. But yes, what
From
she said.
Herzog to this, you're like,
oh my God,
what?
She had so. Just could not emote at all. It would her dog was run over, or she just won the lottery. It would be the exact same thing.
It's like what they say about Kathy Ireland.
Oh yeah, Alien from LA. Yeah.
Dull surprise.
Oh man, I love. I don't want to get too political, but I love when they go into the gunhead in that one random cabin, and again, just inconsequential to the plot. Is just about everywhere they go. There's just some shocking surprise. If you look at the actual trailer, you're like, the movie almost looks legit, but when you actually sit down and watch it, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, and it's Sam the Keeper.
yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, he looks like Paul Bunyan or whatever. Yeah,
he was hilarious. And the other woman who was the realtor, I kept, kind of, I don't want to say getting them confused, but kind of getting them confused because they looked a lot alike.
Yeah.
And, and they kept, but then
could you understand what she was saying though?
Yeah. Well, I had the caption going. So.
I've seen other movies by this director, Tony Zarandast, and everybody should check them out. They are delightfully bad. It's
wow. Yeah.
He had another buddy movie, Hard Case and Fist.
Hard Case and Fist?
Fist.
Wow. Okay.
It's a buddy movie, I swear.
So he made Hard Case and Fist, huh? But I really love this whole movie. It's called Arizona Werewolf sometimes too, if you want to
Yes.
find the original. Though why you would want to watch the original movie without the Misty,
It's
I would
pretty
not know.
suffering. Oh man.
Yeah, it would
It's
have
rough.
to be. So, all right.
The coolest
So,
thing is the VHS poster, which would reflect
Oh,
and
yeah.
transform. That's as much effort as they put.
so that's all of our penultimate choices. I think we are now at the cream of the crop, as it were. Our absolute favorite Mystery Science Theater episodes. Erin, please, ma'am, let us know what it is.
Mine
No pressure.
is, and let me just make sure of one thing. I just want to check for. Yes, I was right. Not only is it my personal, the one that I like to watch myself the most, my personal favorite, but it's also my birthday.
Oh,
8/12.
Okay.
Nice.
Which is the incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed up zombies.
Yes.
Oh man.
That's a
Which is
good.
basically somebody just put a camera on a talent show.
Yep.
But nobody was very talented.
Oh yeah.
It was supposed to be the first rock and roll musical. The guy who wrote, directed, it starred in. He starred in it as Cash Flag. But his name is Ray Dennis Steckler.
Mm-hmm.
He appears in one short scene in EGA at the pool party.
As one of the guys gets pushed into the pool. Yeah.
Yes, he gets pushed into the pool. I love this movie. It's ridiculous. It takes place at a carnival, but nobody's having any fun. Everybody's greasy. Everybody's sad. There's like everyone just looks dumpy. Carmelita is like a gypsy woman. I know we're not supposed to say gypsy anymore, but she's a fortune teller sort of, but she has a sister who is a stripper but never strips. And
so that'd be aspiring stripper then.
Yeah, right. One of the guys that gets murdered at this carnival is the barker outside the burlesque act, but there's nothing even worth. And it's attended by men and women alike. Who and children. Who's going to this?
Yeah, I don't know about the kids.
Anyway, takes place in a carnival. So Carmelita, I guess she poisons or brainwashes, or she has her lackey Ortega, with his long putty nose, pour acid on her victims who rebuff her advances, and then they become her zombies, and she keeps them like behind a door. But and then she goes off and tells some more fortunes, and it's not very good, but I love it so much. It's so entertaining to me, and I really can't put my finger on why.
And you don't have to.
You like saying the title?
I do love saying the title. It makes for my favorite host segment, which is where, the title's a mouthful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite host segment is people, walking for charities, walkathons, right? And Tom says that he is walking for helping children through research and development. And Mike says, "Oh, heck, Trad, I know." He's like, "No, Mike. Helping children through research and development those are the initials. It's actually, hi everyone, let's pitch in and get cracking here in Louisiana doing right, eh? Now then, hateful, rich, overbearing, ugly guys hurt royally every time someone eats a radish, carrot, hors d'oeuvre and never does dishes. Eventually, Victor eats lunch over Peoria mint eye Noisburger toast," which I don't know what it means. I think the end is a joke,
German?
But
you just read that all off the top of your head too.
Yeah, I memorized it from like the second time I saw it. It doesn't fit on a shirt very well.
It would fit on a cape if you opened your arms.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Like the master.
So yeah.
Wow.
There's oh God. Our lead actor, Cash Flag, it's just, gosh, he's very unlikable. he is lazy. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to have a job. His roommate is like Squiggy, but he's got a blonde pompadour,
Okay.
and the stinger on this episode is his roommate saying, "What do you think you gave her for, Dave?" Which means, "What do you think I came here for? To eat?"
Oh,
As in,
what I
like
thought.
they sit down in front of the fortune teller, and she's like, "You want your fortune?" And he's like, "What do you think I gave her, Dave?" And yeah,
That would fit on a shirt, though.
yeah, it was.
Oh,
But
man.
it's fun.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah.
will tell you, back in the late 80s, I was the manager for a national video store in Alexandria. And I actually remember us buying the videotape of that movie because it stuck with me all those years. And then when I saw it on Misty, I was like, I've watched that movie by itself for some reason. And I don't think I need to watch it again. Of course I did, but God, that was a bad, like you nailed it. It's
I
like, really,
love
we're just
the
gonna put this here.
musical
You guys
number.
do whatever you want to do. You know?
No, there's like there's this one. I love the songs that people sing on this, I guess, open mic talent show, whatever, attended by men, women, and children alike, and like this weird little striptease where they're like wearing zebra outfits. It's weird. I love this one song where they're all wearing feathers. They look like chickens.
Yeah.
And the lead singer dancer says that she gets so chic out of shape, and they hear it as chic out of shape. Like, the first blade lifts, the second one cuts. Like, I got chic all the way out of shape. Like, so yeah.
Got to make that a ringtone. Yeah. Wow, that's a great one. I love it. I love the fact that you love it for your own reasons, and it doesn't matter who else is watching it.
Yeah, that's my favorite for me.
Fantastic. All right, Yo-Yo, what's yours, sir?
Well, so like Aaron, I did not grow up with having cable and having access to Mystery Science Theater when it was originally on. The first time I ever saw it was on the UHF channel in Philadelphia. Channel 48 had the rights to run reruns of it for a while.
WGTW?
Yeah, when we were in high school. So I know I'm almost positive the first one I ever saw was Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. But that is not my number one.
Oh,
my number one
twist.
is just plain Santa Claus.
Oh, okay.
Mexican Santa Claus.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Which I've seen probably more than any other one.
Dance for us, Chiquita.
It is season 5, episode 21, it looks like. And it is just wild. We've seen it. We've seen the Mystery Science Theater one. We saw it in the theater. They did like a riff tracks thing of it where they riffed the longer cut of it, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that
his longest friendship.
Yeah, my good friend Sean grew up watching this movie because his mom watched it as a kid. So he had it growing up, the actual movie, and he's like, "Oh, everyone knows this Santa Claus movie, right? There's nothing weird about this." I'm like, "No, this movie's insane."
Yeah.
It's wonderful though.
He has like an open house Christmas party every year, and there's always Mexican Santa Claus on.
So we've seen it so many times. So in this movie, Santa Claus wasn't really a thing in Mexico when they made this movie. So it was sort of introducing him to Mexican film goers. But instead of living in the North Pole, he lives in the sky. He lives with Merlin, who, of course, why wouldn't the Merlin live with Santa Claus? And a bunch of young children, not elves, though, but children from around the world. And most of the movie is him battling with Pitch, a minion of the devil, for the soul of a tiny girl named Lupita who wants a dolly. Any dolly will do. And it's just ridiculous. It's just a lot of the movie is, the Pitch, the devil, playing pranks on Santa Claus and trying to stop him from delivering gifts. And it's just bonkers and delightful.
That's awesome.
Yes, I've seen it so many times. So I decided to go with Santa Claus.
That's a great pick.
It's just plain old Santa Claus is what it's called.
Love it.
Wow. That's
I
a
knew
good
some
one.
similar people when we went to a Santa Claus Conquers the Martians thing, same as the 50s Santa Claus. They were like, I saw that growing up at a drive-in. It was so goofy. And so it is funny seeing these people get introduced to the show because they've seen some of these other bizarre, obscure, easy to rerun movies.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Cam, I mean, I'm ready for it, man. Give me your
Are you
favorite.
ready?
I am. I'm sitting down, so I can take it.
So I'm talking about Beefy McRib Cage. We're talking stock footage driven. I've followed even a lot of those goofy movies by the actual company that produced this one, AIP Pictures. It is Space Mutiny.
That's it.
I love watching this stupid
hard
movie
cheese.
on Rift. It wasn't always easy, but boy howdy. Will you just have my skull explode from my face?
Well, you matched with me because that was my number 4.
Woo!
Yes. We talked about how much poor Battlestar Galactica was ripped naked because all of the scenes and all of the footage was taken from them.
I love how Sissy Cameron actually married Reb Brown in real life and hated how people bashed it. She's like, it's a comedy. I'm like, what movie were you filming?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay. I love how they make fun of how Reb Brown screams like a girl and he's supposed to be mighty and everything. And Mike Nelson once said on a DVD feature, he's like, we still haven't figured out what the mutiny is.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy batshit movie, and I can't stop watching it. And the riffs are on fire, effects done by Industrial Light and morons, just all kinds of stuff. I love. Who can forget the moment where, I mean, the segments are great. You can't forget where Crow and Servo find out the SOL satellite has escape pods and start racing in it just like in the movie, and you're like, yeah. And Mike's like, why aren't you escaping? But I love too the gal who gets stabbed and then she's alive in the next scene, just like
Aaron brought that up.
Just
that was her twin sister though, or clone. We're not sure.
Yeah, I'll take it as a different tech, but I love it too when what's the one, it's just there's all these other extended characters in the deleted scenes that there's all these that they make fun of how Cam Mitchell looks like Santa Claus. But I love when he goes to the one guy, and this is a joke that's taken on a new life of itself. He's talking to the one tech guy, and it's either Mike or Crow lets out, what do you got for me there, Rick Ashley?
And then he falls, and they're like,
oh yeah, just so many. And
so great.
I've followed all these other guys and all their other South African movies, and it's just so funny what a crazy career they've all had. Just
yeah. I was saying my favorite bit was when they come back during one of the segments, and Servo's putting up safety bars everywhere.
Yes, and he keeps tripping over them, just like all the henchmen in the movie. Look out, Mike! I just installed it.
Oh God,
it's a
well, that's a great one.
Oh, it's
a match.
It's easy to introduce people to as well because like the riffs are on fire. Like
yeah, and I tell you, I loved Reb Brown because of the Captain America movies that came on CBS.
Yes,
and he actually does a lot of conventions and smaller conventions too. And I was so excited when I finally got to meet him. And he's still a good-looking guy. He's still in shape for his age. And he had on a Captain America uniform T-shirt.
He knows who he is. He's a B-movie guy. He was
wearing the jeans and everything. And then you go to meet him and you look down and he's wearing like Birkenstocks. And
he was the Casper Van Dien of the 80s. Yeah,
he was. He was.
The Howling 2 and then stuff like this. And
wow.
Yeah. I used to find an actual,
too,
and he's a good sport. He's like, hey, what do I gotta hide?
He actually did a con not too long ago that I didn't get to go to in Texas, where it was him and the original motorcycle. So you could go and take pictures with the two of them.
Wow.
And he was going to be in costume. So I mean,
how about that?
Exactly. You know, I'd have done that if I was there.
I once told him online, "You were the best Captain America," and he gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah. Well, he was very great. He was
I love
very
him.
great.
I know. You can't spell B movie without Red Brown. Let's go.
Wow, awesome. Well, I guess it's time for me to tell you what my absolute favorite one is. And we haven't even touched on this one, so I'm really excited about it. It is another season 8 gem. It is a magical movie called Jack Frost.
Wow! right after the Incredibly Strange Creatures That Living Things.
The next. Okay, cool. I don't know why I love this movie, but I do. Every time it's on, when it comes on the Pluto channel, I have to stop no matter where it is and watch the rest of it. I don't know if it's because of the part where he becomes a bear. I don't know if it's the old witch that just spanks him to no
and then
avail.
they argue when she's trying to feed him to the oven. And
yeah. Why he wouldn't just get in the oven, I don't understand. Kids these days, they don't listen. But it's he's trying to win the love of his Nastanka. Wait, what? No,
El Stinko. Wait, what?
El Stinko. And it's a really interesting Nordic film that kind of brings some of the
In Russian.
Yeah, no, never mind. It's just a show. It's
You should really.
But I do love it, and one of the reasons I love it is it's also because this is my absolute favorite segment part, and that is the prologue when Mike comes on and does Lord of the Dance. And it's so just ingrained in my brain. His hand movements, his bare chest and his foot movements that we don't get to see, and Gypsy questions about how good he actually is on
Yes. Oh my god.
And as Cam knows, Gypsy's my favorite bot.
Yes.
I love Gypsy.
Yeah.
I always wondered how they made that voice. It was always a guy puppeteering until more recently. It's like how they got that voice. I'm just waiting for them to do a movie that has Richard Basehart in it.
Oh wow!
Of all the movies they've done,
they've never done
one that he's in. Ooh.
Is that your fur baby?
Yes, this is Gemma. She got very upset. She was crying at the door, and her little paw went under the door, so Joey got her. So.
Oh yeah, she's welcome to the show. Joey, you'll have to change the.
Does she like bad movies?
Well, she'll do whatever Joey wants.
Oh,
so we said
Jeopardy.
She likes Jeopardy. She loves Jeopardy.
Ding ding. It's always fun when you see B movie trivia on a game show.
Yeah.
Is like, who was in this sultry movie? Who was in this bizarre, infamous movie that's a cult hit? It's like always the most bizarre stuff.
Well, Ken Jennings has watched some of those movies for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, gang, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and make your lists. I know it was probably just such a chore to have to rewatch your favorites again and again.
Give me Rocket number 9.
Bad because I like some of them might have changed. Hi, girl. What?
And they'll change tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about this
exactly.
show.
It's like it's a good episode, but I don't want to suffer through this one again. Or
I love Mr. B Natural, but I don't want to watch The War of the Colossal Beast.
Oh.
Which is the movie that it came with.
There you go. Yeah. That's why I loved how in the 90s they would do Best Brains would unleash. I had some of those tapes where it's like Tom Servo's favorite host segments.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Bye.
Set your crank to Frank.
So again, thank y'all for coming and joining me for this very special live.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Wednesday
sorry I took up
Eve.
so much of it. It's just like,
No, I love it.
I was
The best
kind of
host
lived
we can
for
find.
science theater for a while.
Nah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for doing it. And I want to thank all of you out there in the podcast universe. We know that you have a choice in your podcasts, and we appreciate that you choose us. We hope you had a fantastic time, and if you enjoyed it, if you could go to your favorite podcast app and leave that all-important 5-star glowing review. And I'll tell you, just between us, if you didn't like it, I'm perfectly fine with you still leaving a 5-star review. I'm good with the karmic implications that I may weigh. So let's just do that. Either way, just say it's great.
Just be gentle.
Yeah.
Especially when we suffer through bad movies.
Yeah.
Be anything, be kind.
Be very kind and leave 5.
Or Mr.
Unless
Be
it's a
Natural.
10-point
Or Mr.
scale.
Be
Then-
Natural.
Lovely meeting you guys.
We encourage you to join us on social platforms like X, Twitter, whatever it's called this week, Instagram, and now we're on Blue Sky,
formerly known as Twitter.
or the app formerly known as the Twitter X. So let's keep the conversation going and make this community thrive. Thank you for being a part of the journey, and don't forget that new episodes come out every Friday, unless they don't. And be sure to subscribe to catch them all. And there'll be another episode out Friday, because this was a special bonus, because that's just how we are. So
We got more episodes than Clones of Servo.
And remember, folks, it may not be the best, it may not be the most popular, but if it's your favorite, then it's good enough for us. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I appreciate it. Sign us out.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Turkey Night.
Circulating the tapes or DVDs.
Circulating, yeah, the digital, the cloud. Keep circulating the cloud.